What's up, Walt?
Well, Joe, we're going to talk about an interesting thing that I've heard back and forth on for years as a creative person.
Okay.
It's the idea of collaboration.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
That's interesting. Yeah.
I had a friend literally say to me at one point, he said, collaboration is a sin.
What?
Yeah, he basically, he thought that the idea that like collaboration was somehow, like each artist has an individual voice.
Was he a sociopath?
I don't know about that, but it is the idea that, if you have an individual voice as an artist and you're going to try and express that, well, if you let other people deflect you, if you let your wife and you let your husband and you let, your studio mate, and you let these various other people, are they gonna, and really what we're talking
not
about,
collaborators.
Well, really what we're talking about here, Joe, is
what are we really talking about, Walt?
the people you work with, the people around you, the people around you that are naysayers or yay-sayers.
Oh, okay.
The people that are a prop. All right, so here's an example. I'll give you an example.
You know what? I love a good example.
So I was working on a piece of art a few years ago.
Was that the last one you worked on?
Probably. Sadly, yes. But I was working on a piece of art a few years ago, and I kind of expressed what I was trying to do to a friend of mine. And they said to me, I see what you're doing, but, if you were going to be successful with that, don't you think it would have already happened by now?
Wow, that wasn't very nice.
He thought it was helpful. He thought, he was trying to get to some deeper point. And I was just like, no, I'm doing...
artist?
Yes, artist, creative person. But he was, he's actually trying to be helpful. He was sort of doubting that, he was like, maybe that's not really you. It'd be like if you said, hey, Walt, I think I'm really going to become a saxophonist.
Right.
I might be like, really?
Are you sure?
At this point. So, we all have our doubters.
Yeah.
And then, but then, right now, you and I are in a collaboration on this.
Yes.
What's a good collaboration?
Well, I've had bad collaborators.
Well, let's hear about one.
I don't want to bring up any names.
No, I don't want their names, but what makes for a bad collaboration?
What makes for a bad? So obviously, it's very pedestrian. It's like, hey, we're going to do this thing, and then I'll do this stuff, and then I need you to do that stuff. And then that stuff never happens.
Right.
Or, and so it's not very interesting. It's like, okay, they didn't pull their own weight, so that's a bad collaborator.
It's a creative partnership.
Yeah. Exactly. For a creative partnership.
You want to be the Beatles. You want to be everybody's putting something into the mix.
That's right. Yeah. And then another bad, but on the other side, you're right. Because if you look at something like, if you look at the band scenario, a bad collaborator is someone who's trying to take control of the whole thing and doesn't want to hear what it has to say.
Right. They've got some sort of weird megalomania.
Right. Or they know the way it's supposed to be. They know the way they want it to be, but then they're dragging these other people along, and these other people think that they're part of the process, and they're like, no.
Well, of course,
play your instruments.
And of course, like professionally, my years working in advertising and other media, like I have to collaborate with a client.
Well, the worst collaborator.
Right. And, they always want some kind of magic.
Something idiotic.
Well, they just want some kind of magic. Like, we want a really beautiful, powerful logo that expresses our brand, but it can't be any bigger than 12 by 12 pixels.
Right.
And you say, really? There's several funny stories, I could go back. I once worked for a .com that wanted to do a big media channel. And, I said, well, where are you going to get all the media? And they said,
this was before AI.
It was before AI, right? And they said, no, we've got some kids that are graduating from Brown University, Ivy League. They're going to make stuff for us. They never made anything. The whole thing folded. It was, so it's just the point for Art Cheats, and this is, we're all about you.
Right.
And we are collaborating with you.
Right.
To make them better.
Better work.
Right?
Yeah.
But we want to help people identify their good collaborators or a good collaboration. And if they've got a toxic one,
get rid of that sucker right away.
You got to cut it.
Well, and look, for instance, let's take some for instances. So we look at
I like this.
No, we brought up another earlier video. John Cage, Robert Motherwell, Jessica Johns. Those guys all hung out together.
Right.
They all they elevate, and there's a Talking Head song. Yeah, pulled me up. Right. It's about artists pulling each other up, by helping each other, sharing ideas, and supporting each other to make things better. So I think it's good to have a supportive environment of positive collaborators.
It's tricky though, because on the one hand you want to give somebody honest feedback,
right,
and on the other hand you don't want to be cruel.
Well, cruelty, yeah, but you don't need
to. I've been cruel many times. I mean, I've given some of the cruelest feedback, but sometimes people need it to shock themselves out.
Okay, so you weren't being cruel. You were using cruelty as a ploy to throw a cold glass of water.
I was once given a piece of writing by someone, and my review or my comment on it was,
Thompson.
Good news, none. Bad news, start your rewrite now. And that was, but that made them realize I didn't just go, and we're living in this world now of likes, right? Where everybody's supposed to like your work and nobody's supposed to criticize anything.
No haters.
No haters. Look, I once wrote an art commentary where I said that Jim Carrey was not as good a painter as he was a comedian and actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And someone told me I was a hater and that I had crushed their dreams and their sky had turned black.
What were the dreams?
I don't think they just, they thought it was all good. Anyway.
I saw the paintings on the Jerry Seinfeld Cafe Cars, Coffee and Cars thing.
Well.
They were...
It's good that he has found a therapeutic outlet for his, but it's not even to me. Like Jim Carrey wants to make stuff. Fine,
exactly.
It's fine if you want to make stuff.
That's great,
but don't be delusional about it either.
No, and I think so. The thing I think this is part we were just talking about.
You're on to something though, because you're a good collaborator because you take care of business, you do your stuff, you
can trust me.
I can trust you. You don't you don't have some kind of megalomania where you're trying to you're not trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
Yeah, exactly. I ask you for input and summarily ignore it.
Sometimes it's sometimes I'm conscious enough, but it's tricky because I also know some painters who've really if you've got the right studio mate, boy, it makes a big difference.
It does. Well, and the other thing too, for us, I've been working on a number of things, and I recall, I'll always run it by you. I say, hey, look at this, my new thing I made, and then I remember one thing was the boy with a gun diorama.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, there needs to be a crying girl on that thing.
Well, that's just a flavor, right?
No, but you were completely right. Because it enhanced the narrative, it gave it more depth to the sort of thing, and you always have to. And the thing is about when you're collaborating with someone, it's like a lot of times your first thing is like, well, no, I made that thing.
Yeah, you're protective.
You're protective, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think the thing is at this point, certainly for me now, I don't care. It's like if you want to give me, but it has to come from someone who knows what they're talking about. But even doing our first video, I trialed it through friends of mine, and had them watch it, forced them to watch it. And, and there was no thin skin. I wanted to hear what they had to say. Honestly, almost all the things they said, except for one, I incorporated it and it made everything better.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see two styles of collaborator. I've had the client collaborator who's like top down, where they're kind of, issuing, I would say, impossible requests.
Well, it's a client, a collaborator, really.
You work with them.
Yeah, but they're not really collaborators.
I
wouldn't call them collaborators.
I try to do that so I don't feel like I'm being a slave. I don't want to be
a stooge.
A slave. But I will say that, of the people I've worked with, one of the best collaborators is a British American artist guy named Phil Hale. He's a terrific painter,
artist, yeah.
terrific artist painter. And when I engage with him, the process is always, I could say something like, "Hey, what about I'm thinking about doing a painting of a monkey running across the lake." And what he'll say is, "What about?
What about?
What about?" Yeah. It's like, it's not a critique. It's a but what about plus if and also and maybe.
Yeah, maybe, right.
But that makes me think it's not a criticism.
Right.
It's an add-on and a redirection.
Right.
Which is very it's not threatening, it's not territorial.
And I think the thing is, I think for some people harsh criticism is a positive thing, but I don't think that's in the domain of a collaborator.
Well, you don't want to you don't want to crush somebody else's ideas.
Right.
For one, you might be wrong.
You might, oh, Jesus Christ, all the time.
You like somebody could come up with the ugliest design for a shirt.
Yeah.
And you might be like, that is an ugly shirt. Right. And it might be wildly popular.
Might be exactly what the market wants.
Right. And so you might be wrong. So it's tricky to. And honestly, this is what, like in the world of art criticism and all this, and like in the world of mentoring, it's tricky to be a good critic and a good mentor and a good constructive person that helps somebody, add to the thing, not lose enthusiasm. Because I'll tell you this. Okay, here's a secret, Joe. If you asked me about something I was working on, like an art thing,
right,
I don't want to talk about it.
Really?
I really don't want to talk about it because
I love boring people to death when I'm working on it.
I don't want to talk about it because you might say something that cools my heat, right?
Oh, you're protecting it still. Because it's not ready. It's not ready. It's not ready.
So the most common thing is like, I might have a thing I'm working on.
Right.
And it's not done.
It's not done.
And if I show it to you before it's done, you won't be able to imagine the done version.
No, because what it is that you've not ironed out all the details yet.
Yes.
Okay. It's not ready for feedback.
Prime time.
It's not ready for prime. Well, and you don't want things to go so far that it's like you didn't get feedback when you needed to get feedback on it. Right. But there's a certain point, and I do this all the time. It's just like, I'm not ready I don't want to hear anything yet. I'm still uncomfortable with myself. I haven't gotten to the point where it needs to be criticized yet. Right.
And I'll say,
honestly, I know it's kind of crappy right now. So,
yes. Part of this is probably my shock, trepidation, electric animal. It's from years in advertising where I knew if I showed a client something before it was completely done, their unimaginative corporate brains could not imagine that it just needed a little more to get to a good thing.
You were traumatized by that.
Traumatized
by the environment.
I may as well have had electrodes strapped to my body time again.
And I think, that's kind of the thing with sort of this AI thing is also because people, I think they can silo themselves now. And it's like, oh, if I need to talk to a thing, my collaborator is this AI.
Yes, it's a very safe space.
Right. Because they're always nice to you.
And it's private.
It's private. You don't have to, you get this. And
it's a little too complimentary often.
Yeah, well, exactly. And so you can actually walk yourself out on a plank.
Yeah.
And paint yourself in a corner.
Yeah. Smoke your own.
Yes. Drink your own Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Right? We can pick another one. Is there another one? Yes, anyway. But I think, and so that's kind of a thing that I think in this AI environment, creative development is like, it could be cheating people out of that human to human collaborative experience.
But you got to have a good collaborator because there's a lot of people. If you tell somebody your idea and they just get a sour expression on their face, well, that can be on like a human emotional level. If you're sensitive, that can be pretty like, we want to do good work, but until the work is far enough along to be appreciated.
Yeah, it's like getting a good girlfriend or a good partner or whatever. It's like you got to go through a few.
You got to go through a few.
But the important thing is, at the end of the day, it's very rewarding and it will make your work better if you do a single collaborator, a collaborative community, whatever it takes. But and I think that's part of just being human, is that we are social beings, and it's not even so much the ideas; it's just the supportive environment.
And it also helps to develop some grit, right? So if somebody doesn't like it, or somebody, now I'll tell you,
you're gonna put your work out there, and there's gonna be someone who doesn't like it.
Well, not only that, like here's a funny thing. Okay, I'm an artist.
You are?
Yes, I'll admit that here. Now, my father was a medical doctor, but he was also an art enthusiast.
Right.
And, at some point he saw some of the things I made and he started commenting on them, blah, 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 blah. And I had to like brace myself psychologically to go, no, you're a doctor, not an artist. He really wasn't qualified. He didn't understand. So to be like,
he must have learned something from looking at art.
Yes, but he didn't really understand the creative process. So he was able to say something.
You like the end product.
He felt like he could weigh in without, it'd be like if I said,
hey, people think they can weigh in on anything.
Well, that's true, but
any kind of competence or understanding.
It'd be like if I went to somebody who was playing tennis in Wimbledon and I said, hey, your backhand, I think, I'm really not qualified to tell that to that guy.
It's me.
Right. So, you sort of have to, you have to figure out who you're willing to listen to and how much credence you're ready to give.
Well, it's always, it's this thing they say in music, and I think it's the same thing in visual arts. It's like, what you want to do is, if you're lucky, your collaborator is better than you.
And asking more, or sort of like more aware, more informed.
That's right. So you can learn from them.
Or even just their antenna or sensitivity is better than yours.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have to be smarter
technically
or
better than
beautiful.
Right.
They definitely don't have to be technically more better. They might be more perceptive to how the thing is going to go down.
Yeah. And so in the long run then is, one, you've developed a friendship. Secondly, you learn from them, and your art will be richer in the end.
But also, if you've got a toxic collaborator,
I'm trying to end this on a positive note.
I'm saying that is feel the power to terminate anything that is undermining you. The underminers of the world.
They're there.
They're there. Anyway,
good luck.
Those are some thoughts on collaboration. Now, you can always collaborate with us here at Art Cheats. It will be a remote collaboration. You can leave a comment. You can say, I need help. We probably won't respond.
I'll respond.
He's a great collaborator.